Hey there, guys. Welcome to Beneath the Tavern. Hello. It is I, your host, NibletK. And like I said, welcome to a Hearthstone podcast. And more, occasionally. I wanna say that this is starting to be really cool. It is a Hearthstone podcast in the grand gist of it, but we're slowly coming around to a bigger grand scheme, a bigger idea, something that involves a D&D situation or scenario revolving around Hearthstone and making a D&D with card games, with board game, with everything that Hearthstone has to offer. So that's all I'll say about that for now. Other than that, let's get right into it. And we're gonna go, as you guys can see, things are subject to change, and they will change a lot. It's still a work in progress with pretty much everything. How the show looks, how I react, what we're gonna talk about, and we're slowly gonna evolve and try to do everything better. As you guys can see, no more green screen for now. So that said, we'll have to do with this sort of thing. So I'm hoping you guys like it and it doesn't look too awful. Now let's get right into the card review. We got a ton of cards to review. All the cards are out. All of them have been shown. It was a blast. I gotta say, the last reveal stream with Day 9 was, as usual, a blast. Seeing that guy always makes me laugh. Yeah. Hey there. Okay, let's start off with exactly where we left off last time. With cards. So here we have a Shaman 1-mana spell, Voltaic Burst. Summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush, overload 1. So Shaman appears to be getting a lot of overload cards, which are kind of interesting. Maybe an overload style Shaman will appear, and it will make the Spellstone a whole lot better with Fury Giants and all that. That seems to be like the combo you want to go for. You want to get a big board of 8/8s with Death Rattle that summon themselves back on the board. It's pretty much like the huge finisher kind of deal. And you want to get good consistent things up until then. So having 2 1/1s with Rush, so you can effectively use them as a board clear, maybe against 2 1-health minions, so that's always a good value, or maybe just against 2-health minion, that is probably a 2-drop, sometimes even a 3-drop, so effectively, it kind of scales in your favor. The overload also is going to help you with that specific Snow Fury Giant and combo. Other than that, it's a nice, interesting card. So if that's ever going to be something that's viable for Shaman, it's definitely going to be good. Maybe even in token. I mean, getting this beside with a volcanic totem. I forgot the name. What's the really annoying totem that gives you +2 attack? Whatever. That thing. Hey there, cat. Hey. So yeah, that can also dictate a lot of good, decent trades, because you get 2 3/3s with charge effectively. So it's gonna be really interesting. Shaman's gonna utilize this card in one way or another. Now we're gonna go a little bit backwards in the way that they actually were presented, right? Next we have Juicy Psych Melon. Druid spell, 4 mana, draw a 7, 8, 9, and 10 cost minion from your deck. Now everyone said this card is a little bit over the top broken, especially for Druid, who already is a class that benefits from a lot of card draw, a lot of sustainability, a lot of ramping as well. So they say it's a little bit unfair that they got this thing. Now, this is an interesting card. Don't know how much play it's going to actually get in Constructed. But in Wild, we definitely know that having this card allows you to draw basically your infinite value combo, which is Azalina is your 7-drop, then you have your 8-drop, which is King Togwoggle, your 9-drop, which is Aviana, and your 10-drop, which is Coon. So that's basically your go-to combo. But you really want to draw everything from your deck. I mean, this is a good card. It's a card that draws you 4 things out of your deck for 4 mana. So it really thins out your deck and lets you utilize your combo as soon as you're on that turn, especially. So I think it's a good card, but I don't know exactly how well it's going to be facing against the really high aggressive and mech based meta that we're going to face in the not so long distant future. Pretty soon, August 7th. Can't wait. Next we have a priest spell, 5 mana, power word. I always hate saying that. Power word. Somehow I don't know. Whatever. Power word replicate. So priest is all about pretty much death rattles and cloning and getting more of the same minion or duplicates or cloning, that kind of thing. So this tier says choose a friendly minion, summon a 5/5 copy of it. So you already have to have a minion on the board. I mean, it can be a small drop. You can go with any kind of death rattle that is meaningful to you, and you're pretty much paying 5 mana for a 5/5 with the added benefit of that specific death rattle that is already on the board. So it's a pretty decent card. If Death Rattle Priest is going to be good, they might find at least one spot for Power Word Replicate. Other than that, I don't know. We'll just have to see. Maybe some sort of big priest is going to come around the corner. Who knows? Definitely interesting cards, if I can say at least that. Next we have Augmented Elec. This is a neutral card, a 3 mana, 3/4 beast, and it says whenever you shuffle a card into your deck, shuffle in an extra copy. Now, since this is neutral, a lot of classes can utilize this, and we do have options to put other minions in the deck, so we can shuffle like almost anything that we want back into our deck, and we're going to get the second copy of it because we do have the Baleful something. I forgot his name. It's a 2 mana 2/2 that shuffles a copy of a minion into your deck. Baleful Banker, there you go. Brain is working a little bit. So definitely an interesting card. I saw a Kriparian talking about this card. Hey there. Yeah, of course I'm back. We're back with the Hearthstone podcast and all that jazz. This is a card that even if it doesn't see play immediately, it's definitely gonna be utilized at some point with a specific combo or a specific meta. Even if it's not in this meta, this card is definitely going to see play at least in the upcoming expansion, which is not announced yet, or when the entire set rotates, the next year is going to come out. With the 4 mana spell, it shuffles 20 opponent's cards into your deck. Also the folderized rider. Yeah, it's gonna be busted in Rogue, I believe. We'll just have to see exactly how viable it's going to be. Next we have Nacrium Blade, a 3 mana 3/2 weapon. Death Rattle. Trigger the Death Rattle of a random friendly minion. This is a rogue card. Interesting. This is going to enable a ton of synergies for rogue, and if anything, this card is going to be overpowered because you're going to dictate a specific death rattle. This allows you to play basically Mechathune. So whenever you're there, you're ready, you just play Mechathune, and then you swing with your last durability, you instantaneously do all that, and you basically win the game. Now that said, there probably are going to be some other broken combos, but we're just not sure as to how effective that's going to be right now. But this entire expansion is going to be like a whole lot of experimenting with a whole lot of different variety stuff. So it's a good card. I'm gonna say this is a good card. And besides, it's a 3 mana 3/2. It's Fiery War Axe, and it also has a Death Rattle effect, so it's really good. Next we have a Shaman card, Thunderhead. Okay, like I said, Shaman's getting a lot of elemental love. Also, the whole Overload thing. After you play a card with Overload, summon 2 1/1 sparks with Rush. This goes really well with the other cheap 1 mana cost spell that also summons 1/1 sparks with a Rush. So again, with your Flame Tongue Totem, in conjunction with a lot of Overload, you can dictate a lot of specific board clears and taking control of the board however you feel like, in a much easier and suitable way, I guess. It's also a 4 mana 3/5, so the stats are not terrible. They're pretty decent. It's an elemental, so it has elemental synergies. Even if you don't play this in your deck, you still have a chance of finding this. So it's definitely a good card for Shaman. Most of the cards in this entire expansion are going to be rated pretty high. At least by me. Because I think they all have really good potential. Even if the potential is not like there instantaneously, like at this point, they're not broken, they're not really weak, and in some sort of way they're going to be played, or at least experimented with in certain archetypes as the game progresses on, with more cards being added and all that. Okay, 4 mana Storm Chaser, Battle Cry. Draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. It's also another elemental, so elemental synergy. It's a 4 mana 3/4. It's not that bad. It could be better for stats, but it's not. It's really not that bad. It lets you draw specific things, so if you want to be more control-y, this is a nice tool to making sure that you draw your volcanoes, or if you want to go all in on that Overload thing and trying to get your Spellstone upgraded as fast as possible, this allows you to fish out the Spellstone from your deck and put it into your hand, like almost guaranteed, right? Yeah. Excuse me. Next we have a mech, a 4 mana 3/1, so the stats are really crappy. Now what does this thing do? Replicating Menace, magnetic, so it has the magnetic thing, and Death Rattle, summon 3 1/1 microbots. So it's effectively a 6/3 for 4 mana, divided into more things with a death rattle mechanic attached to it, so you're not getting the entire board flooded all of a sudden. This one I'm not so sure that it's going to see play. It's an interesting filler card in my opinion, that can be added to random discover effects and all that. Plus the magnetic side might be interesting because it also gives you a ton of more mechs, but it really has to suit something that's going to be like really high aggressive, highly aggressive mech based deck. So maybe Paladin might utilize something like this. Could work, but I believe there are far better, I'd say far better contenders for the 4 drop, especially in Paladin. Next we have one of the most interesting things for Warrior apparently. 6 mana 2/5, so the stats are not that great, but whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/3 mech with dot. So as long as you can damage this minion, even if it dies, it summons another 2/3 mech, and it also has taunt, so it kind of lets you live a little bit longer. Control Warrior has always been a thing, so it was always a thing. It kind of died out a little bit. There are certain archetypes, but most of them revolve around being highly heavy in taunt minions. Now this thing summons a taunt minion, it doesn't play, so it doesn't really help you out with the quest, but it's still a nice mech that if not dealt with immediately can give you more than just a 1/2/3 taunt minion, especially if you have whirlwinds like that. You can get a bunch of them, and they're all mechs, so they're going to synergize perfectly with your mech and magnetic things. Also, we do get Dr. Boom, which synergizes specifically with mechs, so we might be seeing a couple of mech variations for Warrior in this expansion. I'm curious to see if aggressive, mid-range, or full-on control is going to be like the best. I don't know which one of these three is going to be the best for specifically Mech Warrior, but this card is going to be really good, especially in Arena. So I don't really talk that much about Arena, but this card is going to be thick in Arena. And here's the granddaddy of them all. The biggest mech, I believe, that they ever printed, and with the most insane death rattle ever. It literally says destroy the enemy hero on the card. There have been Exodia decks out there that basically, through doing a specific combo or gathering specific cards, so to say, you automatically win the game. But not like this. This guy is hard to pull off. It says Death Rattle if you have no cards in your deck, so you have to be in fatigue. No cards in your hand, so your hand has to be Mechathune and you have to play it, and then it has to die to trigger. So if you draw something, you have to play that and then kill your Mechathune. You can't hold on to anything. Plus, you also have to have only Mechathune on your side of the board. So as long as one of your minions is still alive and maybe you can't trade effectively with it to kill it off and it sticks there, you can't pull this off. So it's definitely going to be harder to pull off. People in chat are saying that even Warlock combo is kind of easy to pull off with Mechathune. We'll just have to see exactly how consistent it's going to be. Next we have Nacrium Vial, a 5 mana spell for rogues that says trigger a friendly minion's death rattle twice. I don't know exactly which death rattle is going to be really good in Rogue, but Rogue Legendary also revolves around death rattles, so there might be a death rattle rogue coming around the corner. However, I don't see it working that great because rogue tends to be more aggressive and trying to take control of the board, dictating valuable trades, especially with its weapon and cheap spells to utilize as removal. We'll just have to wait and see. Maybe in the next expansion we're gonna get a bunch of death rattles for specific classes that'll synergize really well with this card. Okay, next we have a 7 mana 4/4 for Druid, Dream Petal Florist. A little gnome over there. Also an epic card. So at the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 7. So you can effectively play Mechatoon for 3 mana. Maybe we're gonna see something cooking with this specific card, but I believe it's going to be hard to pull off. Druid does have specific card draw, a ton of card draw, sustainability, and ramp. So something might be cooking with this card. But in the current meta that we have for now, Druid is already consistent enough. However, this card might not really help something that Druid is already doing. But in certain matchups, maybe even having one of these, allowing you to utilize maybe your Malagos a turn earlier than actually having Twig proc, or maybe not even having Twig, or maybe if you know that you have a chance of your Twig actually being destroyed, you can utilize this, and then if you manage to reduce the cost of your Malagos, it's gonna go down to 2, I believe, because Malagos is 9. So I'm gonna go down to 2. You can play Floop, I guess, afterwards for another 4 mana. That's 6 mana, allowing you to swipe for 14 damage, I believe. It's a high combo, plus you have your little Starfalls that also do 11 damage. Could work, actually could work. Do you need it to be consistent? Probably not. But it might be an interesting tech choice, so to say, for specific tournaments, I guess, where you know that weapon removal is key if you're playing like something like a Malagos Druid. Okay, the legendary spell for Warlock. It's a 1 mana spell, and the Solarium. Okay, lots of spirits over there. Draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. Okay. That's an interesting card. It helps you a little bit with the quest. I don't know if the quest is going to be something that is going to see play, in this expansion. Quest Warlock was never really something that did good. It might also be a really good choice for Zoo, because in the late game you just play this and you automatically draw 3 cards that you're almost guaranteed to be able to play on that turn. Yep, that's my point. Pretty good in Zoo. Really good in Zoo. I'm seeing a good future for the Solarium. Okay, next we have a neutral minion, a 6 mana 3/4. The stats are ugh. Arcane Dynamo, Bell Cry. Discover a spell that costs 5 or more. So it's a discover mechanic that lets you discover spells that cost 5 or more. So I think this is good in Mage. Might be good in Warlock as well, because Warlock spells that cost 5 or more are something like... well, maybe not Warlock, but you do have Siphon Soul, Twisting Nether, stuff like that. So Control Warlock might get some interesting tools out of this as well. Mage, as usual, really good stats. And Priest, I believe, has a lot of interesting spells that are 5 and more. So this might be actually a good card for Priests as well. I know which of the other classes might really want to focus on this, but I guess this is one of those cards where you really have to look at it and go, okay, what am I trying to do with the specific deck that I'm playing, the specific class that I'm playing, and what is it that I'm trying like to fish for? So you're gonna have to weigh out your options and look at all of the spells basically from 5 and above and see exactly what your possibilities are for each class, so to say. And then you're going to pretty much have to weigh out your options to see, do these cards really help the deck that I'm trying to build that much out, or are they just going to be a nuisance or not even playable? Hey there, Serge. Next we have a 2 mana 2/3 Omega Mind. This is a Shaman card that is going to be really troublesome. I am? Everything looks fine to me. Try refreshing your page, man. Maybe that'll help. Because on my end, it's all good. Okay, so Omega Mind. Battlecry. If you have 10 mana crystals, your spells have lifesteal. Really good card. Really, really, really good card. This is going to be played almost in any kind of control shaman. Guaranteed. No questions asked. This plus anything that does damage just heals you back up. You can even put this instead of your healing rains and just focus on playing this in conjunction with your removal spells. Also allowing you for certain matchups to have a specific early game if you so choose so. If you so choose so. Yeah, exactly. It's okay, it's okay. It's all good. We're all friends here. Next we have 5 mana 3/3, so stats are really shitty. EMP Operative. So this is a tech card. It says Battlecry, destroy a mech. This is going to be a specific card that lets you counter specific decks. So whenever something really broken like Mechathune, I guess, or other really broken magnetic monstrosities are going to be a staple in the Hearthstone meta, This is probably going to be the card that you're going to want to implement into your deck if you want to counter those specific archetypes. This card is, however, not going to help you against any other kind. So anything that is not mech based, this is just going to be a 5 mana 3/3, which is really bad for your tempo, your deck, and your consistency. So, like I said, it's a tech card for specific counter plays. This art looks cool. A 2 mana 2/2, so meh stats, because usually a 2 mana minion has either 3 attack and 2 health, or 2 health and 3 attack. Those are like the staples of a 2-drop. But a 2 mana 2/2 is a decent card, and it says Defrel, give all demons in your hand +1/+1. This is also a demon, so demon synergy going on a more buff route, so to say. Interesting. It can allow you to do certain things, so I'm guessing this would be also good in some kind of demon zoo, if that is ever going to be something. We do have a couple of things that synergize with demons, but not that many. And also, usually when you play demons, you want to play Gul'dan, and playing Gul'dan, you kind of want like big beefy minions to summon back, and not really low impact ones. Yeah, people say it's worse than Kalaseth. Sorry. Excuse me. I seem to be getting a cold. Yeah, usually Zoo plays Kalaseth anyway, and that allows you to give a buff to everything in your entire deck, making it really consistent. So, like I said, we're not sure this is a good card. However, in Arena, if you draft a couple of minions that are demons and you get this demon synergy, it's definitely going to be a good card. Next we have Sephorium Bomber, a 5 mana 5/5, so decent stats, really good staple, you know. 5 mana 5/5 body, just slam it there, really good. Battlecry, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. When drawn, it explodes for 5 damage. Ooh, okay, so another bomb mine kind of thing that lets you mess a little bit with your opponent's deck. Also, it deals 5 damage. So if you manage to put a bunch of these cards into your opponent's deck, you're gonna do a lot of damage over time. So yeah, really good card. I think this is gonna be really interesting in Rogue, because Rogue has the most bounce effects. If that's ever gonna be something that Rogue wants to do. And next we have Luna's Pocket Galaxy. 7 mana legendary spell for Mage. There is also a video which I highly suggest you guys Google and look at Luna's Pocket Galaxy card reveal, I believe, or trailer or teaser or gameplay something. It's real life Hearthstone, and it's really cool. Aha! So, Luna's Pocket Galaxy, 7 mana, so it's really costly. Well, pretty much on the turn you want to play this thing, you're pretty much passing the turn back to your opponent and investing in future turns from now on, because it changes the cost of every minion in your deck. So not in your hand, everything that's in your deck that is minion based is going to cost 1 mana. So this is going to go really well in conjunction with the legendary hero, which allows you from then on, basically each and every minion you draw, you can instantaneously play at that point and be guaranteed that you draw another card, and you can play that again and play and play and play and play and get a big board or specific combos out more easily. Okay, next we're gonna talk about this legendary, but I have to be right back. Don't go away. I just have to blow my nose because this is getting irritating. Much better. Okay. Thank you for your understanding. Now let's talk about more Hearthstone cards. Hype. Legendary minion 4, Warlock. 8 mana 5/5. Terrible stats. Dr. Morgan. Defrel, swap this minion with a minion from your deck. Really costly, and I don't know. People in chat. Oh, Melon. 8 mana 5/5. When you open this, add 400 dust to your collection. I mean, it has kind of like the same thing as Madame Goya, and Madame Goya didn't see really play like almost in anything. Could be interesting if you're running like really high cost minions, I guess. So really high value minions. But a big Warlock doesn't really exist in the current meta, and that would emphasize you to play a lot of small and early spells that should help you live until turn 8-ish. So I don't know how good that's going to be. Probably not. Okay, Meteorologist, 6 mana 3/3. Mage card. Battlecry, for each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So this is a 6 mana 3/3 that does a lot of pings, so a lot of missiles, so to say, for each and every card in your hand. So if you have an average of 5 cards, if you only play like 1-2 cards a turn, you draw a couple of more cards. This is a 3/3 that does roughly 5 to 6 damage from the hand, so that's like a Cinder Storm, so to say, which is also 3 mana. So you're playing a 3 mana 3/3 plus it casts sometimes a Cinder Storm or a better Cinder Storm or something like that. Hey Whiskey, what up? it might be interesting, especially in a full-on minion-based mage that utilizes a lot of duplicates and card draw with the new book spell. This might be actually good because you're not running a whole lot of spells to counter specific board clears or just ways to deal more damage or getting some value trades. So this might actually be somewhat good in higher tempo based, minion based mages, or maybe it's just going to be something that you're going to play in a big mage that has a big hand like all the time. Might even go into an aggressive deck that wants to do a whole lot of pings. But that's a little bit hard to pull off because usually those decks play out really fast and you're not going to have too many cards in hand. Okay. We'll just have to wait and see for this one. Oh, aren't you cute? So, 2 mana, 1/2 mech. So, stats are terrible. Galvanizer. Battlecry. Reduce the cost of mechs in your hand by 1. Oh, so this is the card you were saying that is really good with Mechathune, because if you play 2 of these, you can get Mechathune to 8 mana, and then you can play... What's the blood thing? 2 mana? Didn't that rotate out? I believe it rotated out. I don't think you can play it, right? Blood Bloom? Is Blood Bloom still in the meta? I don't think so. Whatever. If it is, then you can play Blood Bloom plus Cataclysm, discarding your entire hand plus destroying the board, and by then you have to be sure that you're in fatigue, and then you automatically win the game. Easy peasy. Other than that, it reduces the cost of mechs in your hand, so the bigger hand size of mechs you have, this might actually be decent in specific mech-based decks, such as Paladin or Warrior as well. Oh, another legendary spell. Let's see what this one brings to the table. Another 7 mana cost spell, so really high on the cost. This one's for Shaman. It says the Stormbringer. Transform your minions into random legendary minions. Okay. So this is really good in a token-based, I believe, in a token-based Shaman. Because you're going to have low impact, low value creatures, and it doesn't really matter what the mana cost they have. They can even be like Snow Flipper Penguins. So a 0 cost can sometimes transform into a Lich King. Plus some other legendary minions on the board. So this one has a huge RNG swing, right? Sometimes you're gonna get like really bullshit, but usually, you know, legendary minions tend to have specific things. Sometimes they revolve around battle cries, so those are not gonna trigger. Daffrels are gonna stick, and other than that, like end of turn effects or specific effects that had to happen before also don't really affect them as well. So they're just going to be like a specific body on the board. Definitely an interesting card, and you can get it easily from your deck and be more consistent. Because Shaman has new cards that will allow you to do that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay. 4 mana spell for Paladins. Prismatic Lens. Draw a minion and a spell from your deck. Swap their costs. Ooh. Now this is gonna enable really cheap dino sizes if you're going to play really aggressive things that go to maybe 4 mana, because this is also 4 mana. And that allows you to pretty much play Dino Size for 4 mana or less. Granted, you're gonna get probably a stupid minion that's going to be overly costed, and no one's going to play an 8 mana 1/2 or 2/3 or something like that. So you're effectively playing this to draw 2 cards. So it's a 4 mana draw 2, and you're going to get a discount on one of the cards. 1 mana Tyrion and Mechatoon with secrets. Yeah, might be good. We'll just have to see. I mean, this is definitely something that will enable some specific combos. We will just have to see exactly how consistent they are going to be, and how consistent Paladin is going to be when trying to utilize such specific combos. Okay, next we have a legendary minion, which is not a mech, although it looks a little bit mechanized already, but it's not a mech, it's a beast. Subject 9, 5 mana 4/4, so the stats are terrible. Battlecry, draw 5 different secrets from your deck. Yeah, I don't know. So this can only go in Hunter, in Paladin, and Mage, because those are like the classes that utilize the most secrets. There's also Rogue, but Rogue doesn't have that many secrets, so that would just not make any sense. So other than that, I still don't know which of these classes might want to utilize this specific card. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You don't really want to play that many secrets. Maybe there's going to be another kind of secret mage, and it just allows you to pull out all of your secrets, get them in the hand, have a huge hand size faster, and then just playing your secrets one by one, and then just transitioning into your late game. Could be interesting, but I just don't see it. Next we have a 5 mana 3/4. Crappy stats. It is a mech. Dinomatic. Okay. Battlecry, deal 5 damage randomly split among all minions except mechs. Oh, this is a nice effect. This is a good card. Warrior is getting some love. Secret Hunted with Putricide? Oh. Yeah, but you have to play a lot of secrets in the late game for that. And you really want to focus on your early game, and you want to play your secrets in the early game so that on turn 5 and beyond you can summon a bunch of wolves. So I don't know how consistent that's going to be to get that many secrets in the late game, and what are you gonna do till then? I don't know. Might be a meme card, a meme deck that goes all in on secrets, and maybe somehow it'll just work. But if that ever becomes a staple for a viable deck, we have the counterplay as a tech choice that just destroys secrets. So, I don't know. Back to our card. Dinomatic. 5 mana 3/4, mech, so it's a nice mech body, which also deals with other minions on the board. Okay. But it says all minions, so you have to... I'm sorry. You have to play specific mechs in order not to damage your own. You can also play this with Acolyte of Pain, so that allows you to draw more cards on your turn, if that is what you want to go for. It's a nice card. Oh, look at this guy. 3 mana 1/5 mech, magnetic and taunt. Not something you really want to play, but if for some reason you're going to discover this for any kind of reason and you're playing mechs, it's a nice way to give one of your mechs a decent buff. Getting +1 and +5 health for 3 mana is really good, plus the taunt, allowing you to keep your health safe or your other minions. Not a bad card in general, but it's just not over the top to say that it's something that you really want to, you know, base your deck around. Oh, look at this guy, Skaterbot. Skaterbot. It's a 1 mana 1/1 mech, magnetic and rush. This is a good card. Now this is definitely a good card. If anything has robots in them, so any kind of mech deck that wants to be more control based, this is definitely the card that is going to see play, because it'll allow you to basically make any mech for 1 mana have rush, and you can dictate specific trades when you want them. Specific death rattles will go off when you want them, because you're just going to trade them away on the turn that you're actually going to play them. So this is going to be a really, really good card. Even in aggro mech decks, allowing you to get specific trades on your turn, that is high value, because you can dictate the board control earlier. Okay. Day 9 rip. Oh my god. Oh my god, rip. Floop's Glorious Goop. 1 mana legendary spell for druids. And it says whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. Now the thing is, you have to cast this first and then kill. Yeah, poor Day 9. You have to cast this first, then kill off your minions. Then utilize the mana, because the mana is actually not there for good. It's not a ramp card. It's a 1 turn. It's a 1 specific turn. Ramp into a gazillion mana and do something really insane on that turn. So this will allow you to pretty much, let's say on turn 4 or 5, if you have a couple of minions on the board and it's gonna go something like a back and forth, you play this, you can play like a 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 drop, depending on how many minions die in that specific turn. It's pretty good, pretty good. Because you're gonna have 5 mana, let's say, right, on turn 5. You cast this for 1, you're gonna have 4 extra mana. So all you need to do is make sure that at least 6 minion die. So 3 of your own plus 3 of your enemies. If you take all of those trades, on turn 5 you can play a 10 mana cost card. Or Lich King or something like that. Something in that region. So it's pretty busted, but it revolves around specific things that you want to do. Not a bad card. It's definitely an interesting one. Okay. Neutral mech. Coppertail Imposter. 4 mana 4/4. Stats are decent. Battlecry gains stealth until your next turn. So it's just a normal stealth minion that doesn't stay in stealth forever. So I like seeing that change made. It's basically, I play this and it's safe for this turn, except to RNG board clears. That's pretty much it. It's not protected mech because it doesn't have magnetic. It's just a mech that you can play and set up for the upcoming magnetic buffs more easily. Nice. I think it's a nice card. Tending Tauren, Druid card, 6 mana, 3/4. It's a choose one effect. Give your other minions +1/+1. Or summon 2/2 treants. So it's kind of like a Scenarios, but smaller. Token Druid might actually end up playing this for whatever reason. And it also has like the new treant synergy, so that might also be something that it could actually have. So we might be getting a token style druid that also has mulch munchers and some other big beefy minions, and then it's going to be somewhat of a token mid-range druid. Could be interesting. Yeah, that's a really good statement. It's a really nice, cheap way of getting 3 minions on the board as well. It's effectively a 6 mana, 7/8 worth of stats. So that's not bad at all. Oh, can we say something about this card? 5 mana, 0/5. Okay. And it says, Defral, summon an 8/8 Robosaur. It's also a mech, so something that your opponent doesn't want to kill. It wants to silence it as fast as possible, if possible. Getting this thing magnetized is definitely going to be a pain in the butt for your opponent to deal with. And this is one of those cards that really help out the Paladin, because they do summon back 3 specific mechs that died during the game, and they keep all of their magnetic buffs. So this is like a good, prime target to go big on. Really hard for your opponent to deal with. They need to have specific polymorph effects or silence. And that we're gonna see a lot of those in this meta. I think silence is going to go in every deck. 2 silences, please. Yes, thank you. Aw, that sucks. I'm running 4 silences this expansion. Yeah, pretty much. Maybe Priest is going to be a little bit OP, because they have more silence effects. Another Paladin card, Glowtron, a 1 mana 1/3, and it's also magnetic. 1 mana 1/3s are really good, really strong body in the early game. It's also a 1 mana buff for other mechs, which gives them +1/+3, so really powerful. This is a really, really good tool for Paladin. Warrior project card. So projects are things that benefit both players. So it says for 2 mana, each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. Interesting. It helps you get rid of specific weapons, such as legendary weapons, if you don't have oozes and you don't want to run oozes and you want to be more of a control style deck, because it also gives you a weapon. Yep. Sorry about that. Was reading chat a little bit. They're discussing about magnetic. Really interesting discussion. Yeah. Magnetic is cool. Because, magnets are cool. Yeah. So weapons project. I don't know. If Control Warrior is going to be good, this thing is definitely going to be good. Because it's a 2 mana weapon. The earlier you get the weapon with 3 charges, the better you're going to get at dictating specific trades. and controlling the board. Okay, 2 mana Warlock card, Spirit Bomb, deal 4 damage to a minion and your hero. Now this is basically a, like from every point of view, a worse, help me out here, a worse Shadow Bolt, I believe, which is a 3 mana deal 4 to a minion. However, this can go into even lock if they so require another cheap way of dealing with specific minions. Also, it helps a little bit the self-inflicting damage that Warlock utilizes sometimes. So it might see some play. Shadow Bolt, okay, thank you. Next we have Crystallizer. It's another 1 mana 1/3. Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero, gain 5 armor. So this is effectively not doing anything. It's just transferring 5 of your health into armor. And sometimes that is better because, as we know, Warrior actually utilizes specific cards that when you're damaged do specific things, like let you draw a card or other synergies like that, but for that you actually have to be damaged. And armor gain is sometimes also really useful, especially for warriors again, because it allows you to go over the 30 health threshold. Plus it synergizes with some specific spells that warrior also utilizes, and this is pretty much a 1 mana gain 5 armor, and then you can shield slam or just spend all of your armor and do AoE around the board for 5 damage. Really good card. I'm seeing this in a control warrior archetype being really good. Oh, it's also nice with the Warlock with the damage synergy cards. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of Warlock, we have Nether Soul Buster. 3 mana 1/5 demon. Again, demon synergies. Battlecry, gain 1 attack for each damage your hero has taken this turn. For each point of damage or for each time it got damaged? Because if you do the bomb, then it's a 3 mana 5/5 if it's for each point of damage your hero took. Okay, so each point of damage. I can see that card working in something like that, like this. Could be interesting. I mean, playing this on turn 4 with the 1/3 that we just saw earlier actually gives you a 3 mana 6/5 plus a 1 mana 1/3 on the board. Yeah, not bad. Oh, Soul Infusion. This is a great card, but it's really situational, and it's going to take a little bit of RNG and a lot of skill to know exactly how to play around with your hand specifically, and because it will force you, maybe if you want to get this, like for instance on a Leroy, you gotta be sure you draw Leroy before you actually have this in your hand, and afterwards it doesn't really matter where Leroy is. This is always going to go on the leftmost minion in your hand, so if Leroy is on the far left, then it's going to get buffed. Also, if you have Leroy and just 2 other spells on your left from Leroy, Leroy is still the leftmost minion in your hand. Now, if you have other minions after Leroy to the left, you're going to want to play those minions before actually applying the buff, if that is what you're looking for. So it's a nice card. I'm not saying it's a bad one, but it's going to be more situational, and being seeing that it's more situational and RNG based, so to say, on how you draw, you might want to go for more consistent plays than this. Next we have another Warlock card, the Doubling Imps. Just Imp. 3 mana 2/2 that copies itself, so it summons another copy of this minion. So it's a 3 mana 4/4 effectively, and we did see some synergies that let you buff cards. Even the 1 mana card that we just saw will give it +2/+2, so it's a 3 mana 4/4 that summons another 4/4 in that scenario. Even without the buff, it's still a 3 mana that summons 2 minions on the board, and we already know that Zoo is really effective, having more and more things, small things that do chip damage or allow you to take some trades on the board, allowing you to always constantly deal damage and flood the board each turn. So definitely a nice, interesting card for Warlock, especially for Zoo. So that Demon Zoo luck might actually be a thing if it all works out. Next we have a really interesting card that, I don't know, it's good and not good in the same time. So it's a 4 mana 5/6 with stealth, but after your opponent plays a minion, it becomes a copy of it. It automatically loses stealth and it becomes exactly what the opponent played. So if the opponent plays a 1-drop, you're effectively playing 4 mana for a 1-drop on your opponent's turn. It's kind of bad. This is only going to be good in specific matchups where you play against, let's say, something that utilizes a lot of spells and only big minions, and then you're kind of forcing them not to use their big minions on that turn and focus more on getting rid of some spells or doing something like that. But it's going to be so situational, because even decks that run big minions will still oftentimes have like a few small minions. Like imagine something that has really high big health minions and they're just running Doomsayer to keep control of the early game, and you're getting ahead on board, and then you just jam this on the board. They're just going to play Doomsayer, pass the turn, and you're going to get the Doomsayer and just annihilate the entire board that you have done. You don't even get to react to his Doomsayer, so his Doomsayer is actually a guaranteed board clear on your turn. Not good. Definitely not that good. Interesting card, but not a good one. Okay, now we're getting to the funny guys, the really funny bombs, you know. Explodinator. Look at him, how happy he is. 4 mana 3/2 that summons 2/0/2 Goblin Bombs. And Goblin Bomb is something that when it dies, it deals 2 damage to your opponent. Also, they're mechs. So it's a 4 cost 3/2. Those stats are kind of bad, but it's effectively a 4 mana 3/6 with double Deathrattle, or just Deathrattle deal 4 to your opponent. But it's mechanized on 3 bodies, so you can actually get to magnetic more things, because your opponent won't really want to kill all those little boom bots. It all depends on how aggressive you're going to be. Chat and people are speculating this is going to be something for Hunter, so Hunter might have a really highly aggressive, really in your face with mechs and a lot of bombs and hero power Hunter class deck. I don't know, might actually work. It's gonna be interesting to see exactly how again Greymane and Baku, the Moon Eater, are going to evolve after this expansion hits, because a ton of new cards are going to be implemented. Hunter mechs look fun. Yeah, they really do look fun. Let's go. Next, we have Test Subject, a 1 mana 0/2 minion for Priest, which says Defra will return any spell you cast on this minion to your hand. So this is like the perfect minion to cast all of your spells on, but in the same time it's really saying you better have silence. You better have silence for me, otherwise I'm going to be a pain in your butt. That's pretty much it. Or you have to kill it as fast as possible so they don't get the added benefit of their spells back. You know, because if they don't get to cast too many spells, then they're not going to get too many spells back. So this is going to be a target nonetheless. You're never going to play it on turn 1. Almost never. You're going to wait at least for specific spells to have in your hand and just combo it out little by little. Next we have Extra Arms, which also synergizes really well with this minion specifically, because Extra Arms says it's a 3 mana priest card, give a minion +2/+2, and it adds another spell to your hand, which also it's called More Arms, and it gives you another 3 mana buff that gives another minion +2/+2. So it's effectively 6 mana +4/+4, but divided into 2 spells. You know, it's an interesting card. Okay. Here we have more bombs for Hunter. This is a spell that deals 2 damage for 2 mana, and it also summons a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. Really good tempo tool for Mech Hunter. Maybe not even Mech Hunter, this just might be a really good removal tool, allowing you to get another minion on the board, and utilizing that with a couple, maybe just a couple of magnetic minions. So this is going to be a really good card. Next we have Astral Rift, a 2 mana spell for Mage, and it says add 2 random minions to your hand. So random minions sometimes are really janky, sometimes are really good. Paying 2 mana for 2 minions that didn't start in your deck might be really good, especially if you get elementals. There's a really good elemental mage brewing around the corner. So this might actually find a place in there. If it turns out to be really inconsistent, then it's probably just not gonna get run, and they're gonna go for more consistent things inside their deck and just try to draw more consistently what they are focusing on. And yeah, that's pretty much my thought about this card. It all depends on how consistent it's actually going to be. Random in Hearthstone is sometimes really over the top, and you can't really play around it. So usually stuff like this can high roll really well. Next we have Secret Plan, a 1 mana hunter card. Discover a secret. This is a good card for Spell Hunter specifically. It allows you to have a turn 1 play, which guarantees you a turn 2 play. Because sometimes you just don't draw your specific secrets. Maybe you don't even want to play specific secrets, and this is just another way of maybe getting the same secret that you already have 2 of in your deck, but this is another way of maybe getting a 3rd copy of that specific secret as well, which is probably more useful for you as well. I don't know. Plus, like I said, you don't want to run all of the secrets, making it sometimes inconsistent to actually have secrets on turn 2 or turn 3. And this just allows you a little bit more consistency in having those specific plays earlier in the game as well. Next we have another Hunter class card, Necromechanic. It's a 5-mana 3/6. The stats are really interesting. Not bad stats. And it says your death rattle trigger twice. This is going to be one hell of a card in every death rattle hunter from now on. Definitely. This is going to go in every death rattle hunter ever. And it's going to be one of those really annoying cards that you want to prioritize to get rid of or silence or something like that. So it's also gonna be a little bit of fodder for your opponent to utilize some of their resources on a card that maybe they don't want to utilize their resources. Maybe this can eat up a fireball or polymorph effect. Pretty much that means your death rattle minions, which are basically your win condition and your really high priority minions, are going to be a little bit safer, because this is also really a big threat in conjunction with those minions. Next we have Research Project, another project card. This is for Mage. It's a 2-mana spell, so each player draws 2 cards. So it's Cold Light Oracle without the body. Interesting. And it might be good, but I don't think mages want to really do that unless there's a specific meta where everyone is playing large hand size things, such as druids, maybe, such as other mages that are going to be hand mages, or warlocks. So if those become really popular, where the long control meta goes on, then you might consider actually playing Research Project, because we already saw how Naturalize sometimes really messes with your opponent. Granted, this doesn't really kill a high priority threat, but it'll give you more options as well. Legendary spell for hunters. It's an 8-mana cost, so really high cost. However, it says Flark's Boomsday. Summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then they die. Really good with death rattles. Again, getting really good minions on the board, killing them off, taking trades, just taking control of the board, leaving something behind possibly. Also, this might actually work in Spiteful Hunter, because an 8-cost card ain't that bad, and 8-cost minions are really good, so we might see an experiment with that. If not, it's still gonna get played. With beasts and death rattles, it's definitely gonna get played. I broke Nightbot. Here we have a 0-cost spell for shamans. Beckered Lightning. Deal 1 damage to all minions, so it's a nice whirlwind effect. And it overloads you for 2. Now that's a high overload cost, but this thing goes really well in Overload Shaman. So this is a nice, interesting tool that allows you to take control of the board, keep everything in check. Stupid cat. Yeah, this is an interesting card. Definitely good. Shaman's getting really cheap removal spells that also have high overload, but it still allows you to do things even if you're overloaded, because this thing costs 0. So really cool. Ooh, Brainstormer. 3 mana, 3/1, so the stats are really poor. Battle Cry, gain 1 health for each spell in your hand, so it's kind of like Twilight Drake, but it only synergizes with spells, so that doesn't make it as consistent as Twilight Drake is, because that you only need to have cards in your hand. It doesn't really matter what they are. So I'm thinking that this card is crap. It's not gonna see any play. Not even in Arena, because Arena usually don't have that many spells. Oh, Bulldozer. The biggest minion, so to say, neutral minion. That is not a legendary. 9 mana, 9/7 mech with Divine Shield. I don't believe anyone is going to play this like literally in their deck. However, it's nice that it exists. It's an interesting minion. Definitely interesting with Dr. Boom, which allows you to discover mechs. Discovering one of these is definitely going to be a little bit challenging for your opponent to get rid of. Plus, if you can't get rid of this, you can magnetize it to a really big mech. You know what? I'm thinking that Paladin might actually be someone that might actually run this in their deck. Next we have Cloak Scale Chemist, neutral minion, a 2 mana 1/2, so not too great stats. Stealth, Divine Shield. That combination is a little bit janky, but it's a 2 mana 1/2. It doesn't have taunt like a Noyatron, but we know that 2 mana 1/2s with Divine Shield are pretty good. We'll just have to see exactly what this will revolve around, because it's not a mech, so you can't really grow on it. It's also not a beast or anything else. It's just a common minion. Maybe this is just one of those filler cards. Ugh. Crazed Chemist, 5 mana 4/4, bad stats. Combo, give a friendly minion +4 attack. I don't think this card is good because it revolves around combos. 5 mana combo card, we already have something better, which is the Vilespine Slayer. Giving a minion +4 attack, we already have a spell for that, which is really cheap, and you can combo it out far more earlier in the game, applying a lot more pressure or dictating a really huge trade on the board. Who knows? Maybe it's gonna work, but I think Rogue has more consistent tools than this Crazed Chemist. Next we have a 6 mana 5/12 mech, Damaged Stegatron. Taunt, Battlecry, deals 6 damage to this minion. So it's a 6 mana 5/6 taunt mech that allows you to heal it back up. This might be an interesting thing if Priest wants to try a mech deck, because Priest doesn't really have a big incentive to playing Baku or Gen in them, because their hero power just feels so useless because we don't have too many high health threats, so to say. This allows you to have a bigger health thing. Also, Recruit might be an option, so whichever class has really good recruit mechanics, such as Warrior with the weapon, this might be something to go for. Yeah, this might actually be good in Warrior. Mech Warrior with recruits. Hoo-hoo. Now we're cooking. The artwork for this card looks really cool. 6 mana spell, summon copies of all demons you control. So it's kind of like a duplicate for everything you have on the board that is a demon. People say this is one of those win more cards. If you have really high impact demons, you're not really going to want to play this in your deck, because at that point, if you actually stabilize with those certain minions, you're pretty much going to win the game, and you don't really require to play something like this. I think this card is bad. Maybe if we get more interesting demons that don't really die so often. You say it could help Q block, but Q block is already really powerful, and it's also really constrained in the things that they have in it, because it works like really perfectly how it's made. Yeah, with Doom Guards, that might work. We'll just have to see. 7 copies of all demons you control. Yeah. And you need the skull in conjunction with this. You get Doom Guard, and you can play this to get another Doom Guard, so that those are 2 Doom Guards on turn 6, basically. Could work, maybe. Next we have 3 mana, 3/3. Electro Right. Battlecry. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, gain +1/+1. So this is a 3 mana 4/4, but only if you have a spell in your hand that costs 5 or more. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna make the cut. And 3 mana cards are usually like tech cards or something that gives you some sort of synergy or a advantage. I don't think this one's going to see any play. Next we have Shaman card, Elementary Reaction. 2 mana, draw a card, copy if you played an elemental last turn. So Elemental Shaman is going to get a lot of value with this. It doesn't matter, you'd play your Flame Imp on turn 1, you play Elementary Reaction on turn 2, you basically draw 2 cards. 2 of the same card. And one of them wasn't even in your deck. You're just getting an extra copy of the thing you draw. You might even draw the legendary, and then you get 2 legendaries. Really good value. This is a good card for really fast-paced, tempo-oriented, token-style elemental shaman, I guess. That's a lot of words for one deck archetype. Paladin card, 6 mana, 3/4. Shitty stats. Glowstone Technician, Battlecry. Give all minions in your hand +2/+2. So it's a hand buff card really late in the game. At that point, you're not gonna have too many minions in your hand.